Hello and welcome to the Dinosaw number 222, another 7 curious, interesting things I saw last week. So as ever, let's crack on. First one is news from Cloudflare. You've never heard of Cloudflare probably, but they distribute and manage about 20% of the internet traffic. So they're a big deal. They have announced their pay per crawl AI feature. This is trying to protect us from AI. So if you are a website owner, then you have three choices. You can either then say to the AIs that visit your website, you're allowed to train on it, great, go for it. Also, you can say, no, I want to block you. And somewhere in between, we can negotiate a price for what you're about to do. But what are you about to do and what is your intent? So that's what this feature does. And it does require the AI companies to sign up for this as well. So it's essentially a charter that both sides sign up for. Now, there's a bit of a handshake that goes on. So when they turn up to your website, it says, hi, I'm an AI. You go, hi, I'm a website. This is what we agree. So if they do go ahead with this, this is a fundamental change in the battle of the internet, and this might be actually a positive thing because all of a sudden we can take control and it's not just a one-sided battle anymore. But there you go. Well done, Cloudflare. We want to see more of that. This is a really interesting test from Anthropic, the makers of the Claude AI, and they gave their Claude AI, and they called it Claudius in this case, just so that they can actually differentiate it. And they gave it access to a vending machine. It's actually the one you see in front of you. It's not really a vending machine. It's a fridge, but people knew the deal. And what it then did is had access to its customers through, in this case, Slack. It could then find its new suppliers on the internet when stock ran out, and it could set prices and do those sorts of things that if you were, it's a mini web store, I guess, but it was a vending machine in reality. So how did it go? So it did a couple of things really well. It could identify new suppliers when people ask for things. Now you can see a person here with a block of metal because people were asking for tungsten cubes and it was trying to find them and deliver those as well, which is cool, I guess. It was adapting to the users therefore, but it was also jailbreak resistant. So if you asked it for dodgy stuff, it wouldn't give you dodgy stuff, which is good. However, it did a load of things really badly, and well done to Anthropic for publishing all of this sort of stuff because, you know, as long as we know this sort of stuff, we can all get a bit better. However, it ignored lucrative opportunities. It could have sold for more money and it didn't. It hallucinated details. It sold at a loss. It lost a load of money, and it got talked into discounts and all these sorts of things as well. So as you can see from the chart at the top, it started out with a bunch of money and lost pretty much all of it. It had a little bit of a go in the middle and then it made a couple of really bad deals. So what they're talking about here is vibe management. Like, in that sort of, how does management of this shop work? What should it do? Can it feel its way to a good solution? So what they call AI middle managers. So if that's your job at the moment, then it's coming for you as well. But interesting report, go and download it. It's interesting. This is the 1X Neo Gamma robot. It's existed before, but this is really about the Redwood AI model that it actually runs it. So the model allows it to do some fairly funky stuff and be essentially useful around the house. So it's trained in a virtual world, and the virtual world and the simulation and the gravity and all those sorts of things is so accurate, you can then just plonk the robot in the real world and it can climb steps and all those sorts of things. And it figures out how to do things itself. So for instance, you know, if you're fixing your car and you want a wrench, spanner, whatever you want to call it, it will figure out how to get it to your height rather than just sort of trying to bend down and unbalance and doing weird stuff. It can shuffle sideways and all those sorts of things. So it's a reinforcement model which kind of means that it's set a bunch of tasks. It has some sort of reward for doing the task. The more it does the task well, then the more it does it again like that. So if it meets a new opportunity, it can then figure out what to do, which is kind of interesting. So if you put it around the house, it'll be quite useful, but slightly dystopian views of it walking in the country with this very lonely person. There you go. This is really exciting news. Doesn't sound like it, but it is, believe me. This is the University of Edinburgh, and I actually heard this on the radio of all things. And this is a new bug, a new strain of E. coli, which they have engineered to eat plastic bottles, especially this is PET plastic, and that is then turned into paracetamol. So there's two things here. One is that is super cool, and I'll explain that just a little bit further. But what I didn't understand is, how do you make paracetamol? You actually make it with oil, or you make it with benzene, which is a derivative of oil. So crude oil goes into paracetamol. Didn't know that. So it uses a bunch of oil. So if you can then actually circumnavigate that, that's a good thing. So this new E. coli ingests plastic, recovers the benzene from it, and then turns that into paracetamol. So it's doing a couple of things here. It's stopping you using new crude oil. It's producing paracetamol, which is 90% efficient, that process. It produces no emissions and it gets rid of plastic. This is really exciting, possibly the most exciting news I've heard in a long time. Who'd have thunk? E. coli. So well done to the Edinburgh University lot for doing that. That's really interesting. This is worrying. This is the News Reality Gap Index. It's a new index. This is from the News Guardian, which is all about protecting the news, essentially, especially from false claims. So this was a report done in conjunction with YouGov, I think it was. They took 1,000 representative people from America, and they fed them some stories. And they said, like, have you heard this story? And is it true or false? And these were 3 heavily trending stories in social media or on sort of false or real sites, and could they identify whether they were true, false, or not so sure? Now, the worrying thing is in which case, for instance, were pallets of bricks planted in Los Angeles during the June 2025 anti-deportation protests as part of a plan to arm protesters with bricks? Is that true? Is that false? Or are you not sure? Now, on the 3 stories that they chose each month, or in this test, about 50% of American public could not, or actually thought one of them was true, even though it was false. And only 7% of people identified all 3 as being false. So are people, you know, let's use air quotes, are they gullible? Are they easily led by false stories on social media? The answer is yes, they are. This is where the battle really is. So this is the News Reality Index, and it will keep track of whether people are falling for fake news. And I guess it's right on 50% right now. This is news from the X Games, and this is the Owl AI, and it looks at everything. It's the Owl. Now, what does it actually do? It's a pundit on their live broadcast, or on their broadcast at least. And this is from Salt Lake City, and it's trained on the superpipe discipline. So snowboarding, as you can see, it's been trained on all the tricks. What is a good trick? What is a grab? What is a whatever? Then what they do is they look at the competitors, how the competitors have been doing in each one of the rounds. And then what they can do is ask it and say, look, you know, we've done all the semi-finals. Based on what you've seen, based on you've seen how people have been doing the tricks and they're sort of essentially how good they are they going to win the final or not? And it will then give you a prediction. It will do it as a TV sequence with voice and video and all sorts of stuff. So it's really interesting. We've talked about having TV pundits and AI generated pundits for a while. We've also got things like Hawkeye in tennis and VAR and things like that. You know, what if you could take the subjectivity out of some things and add 100% objectivity and leave the subjectivity to the pundits, etc., etc. So take the personality out of it. Might be useful, might not be, but really interesting. Well done, the X Games in Salt Lake City. And finally, there's some news going on. There's some movement going on with Bitcoins. Remember Bitcoins? So back in 2011, somebody bought $16,000 worth of Bitcoins. They were 78 cents a Bitcoin. And that was 20,000 Bitcoins, a nice round 20,000. Stuck them in a wallet, has done nothing to them since. And the Bitcoin world has known about these wallets for a while. They're just basically sort of inert, dead wallets, but with stuff in them. As of 2025, a bunch of them have started to become activated. Now, by activated, it basically means that somebody's logged in, somebody's moved them from there to somewhere else. Some of them are called cold wallets, so they're not on the internet. And when they become on the internet, i.e. they're about to go into an exchange, they become visible to people. So in this case, whoever this person is or consortium, whoever has this wallet with 20,000 Bitcoins in it is now sat on about $2 billion. So I don't know how much percentage it's gone up, but it's in the millions of percent it's gone up. So that's kind of interesting. Why we're seeing quite a lot of these these wallets activate in 2025, I don't know. Maybe because the world is going weird at the moment and people just go, do you know what? I'd rather just take my 2 billion and go and do something with it. But there you go. Hopefully that was interesting. Hopefully it was useful. If it was, give it a like, share it with somebody awesome, and I'll see you next week.